Hello friends, good evening to all of you. I'm Gaurav Gupta and I once again welcome all of you to the next session in the series of the sessions we are conducting for all of you for CMAT 2022. So here we are again at on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. First of all, like as usual, before we'll start the session, let me quickly go for a tech check. Please confirm, all my dear friends, if I'm audible and visible to all of you. I hope there are no technical glitches in the reception and all of you can hear me loud and properly. Hi, sweetie. Good evening. Good evening. So yes, I believe people can hear me, people can see me. So let's start with this session. Friends, welcome all of you to our next session of CMAT 2022. And here in this session, I'll be telling you how to increase your score in quant. Now, after my yesterday's session, all of you must be able to understand the strategy which basically I talked about to be used in CMAT 2022. And I hope most of you would have liked this session. Good evening, Pragati. Akshay, good evening. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. So, after my yesterday's session, most of you must have understood the strategy that should be applied at the time of CMAT 2022. And basically, all of you must have made a proper schedule in order to study for CMAT examination for the next 1 month. So yes, so we can say that we can expect the examination date to fall somewhere in the first or second week of April. So we have good 1 month or a little bit more than 1 month in our hand, and we can do wonderful in this paper. Now here in this session, today's session, I'll be focusing on basically the basic hygiene factors, the basic ways in which we can increase our score in quant. Now friends, actually there is no shortcut to that, but definitely in case you want to increase your score, you have to use a lot of shortcuts. Yes, so I mean what I'm saying, I'll just elaborate on that. So when I say that there is no shortcut to increase your score, that means you will have to put on some hard work. You'll have to get into the basic concepts of different topics. You'll have to understand things from the scratch, and you should be able to use most of the shortcuts logically. Yes, so there is no shortcut. There is lots of hard work behind increasing your quant score, but definitely one another way is using some tricks and techniques, using some shortcuts. And you'll not be able to use shortcuts if you don't know them and if you haven't practiced them enough. All right. So in this session, I'll not be giving you any hacks, but I'll be basically picking up one of the most important topics of quant, and will be telling you what should be your approach in order to save time when any question of that particular topic comes in front of you. All right. Okay. Now Jagdish says, sir, please help with divisibility section. Definitely, Jagdish, we still have time. And I promise all of you that I'll keep on coming with different sessions on quant. But let me first of all focus and cover the agenda that I have decided for today's session. All right. So good evening, everyone. Okay. Sir, one thing wants to know everyone, every time I saw your video, how you always be positive and calm. Okay, so Kush, basically, you will understand by time like how to basically remain positive and calm. If I'll not be positive, my students will not be positive, and they'll not be able to do good in the examination. So it's very important for me, for my students, for to be calm and composed every time. Rachna, there is no shortcut PDF of quant that I have made. Okay, so nothing is in printed form. All right, but I'll be teaching you most of the things through my sessions that I'm conducting on YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. All right, so friends, let us start this session, all of you. So first of all, just 2 minutes, I'll throw on understanding the pattern. So yesterday I've explained this particular thing in detail. But let's see, let's talk about the pattern of CMAT 2022, which has changed from the last year. So last year when there were 25 questions in quant section, now there are only 20 questions. Now if you have attended my yesterday's session, you will understand that how much time we need to devote on each of these sections. In case you have missed my yesterday's session, so immediately after this session, please go back and have a look at one of the sessions that I have taken yesterday, in which I have explained what strategy to be used in order to attempt CMAT 2022. All right. So we have 20 questions in quant, and I've told you to spend, first of all, 35 minutes in this section when you start this section in the round one, and later on, like you have the buffer time 30-35 minutes towards the end of the paper out of 180 minutes. So later on, out of those 30 minutes of buffer time, you can decide how much time you want to spend in quant. But the most important key is the speed, because you never know in which question you will get stuck and you will end up wasting some time. So whatever we are doing will have to maintain our speed for each and every question, in case we are able to save some time by understanding some of the tricks and techniques, by understanding some of the logics behind some of the things, then we'll be able to save plenty of time, and in difficult questions we can remain calm and composed. All right, so easy questions to sab kar lete hain, but important is easy question mein time save karna hai, so that when difficult questions comes in front of you, you have enough amount of time and you will not lose your calm and composure. All right. Okay. All right. So basically, this is how I see QA section of CMAT 2021. Okay, so first of all, let us understand the weightage of different topics so that we can spend appropriate amount of time on each of these areas or topics. Now, if you look at the first four things: percentage, profit loss, SICI, ratios and mixtures, time and work, time, speed, distance. This is from arithmetic. All right. And out of 25 questions last year, I could see a total of 11 questions from arithmetic only. Okay. So that means arithmetic सबसे ज़्यादा important area है. We'll have to spend more amount of time when we are doing practice, when we are looking for the concepts of arithmetic. So before the examination, it's good to spend at least 8 to 10 days on arithmetic and revise all these concepts and try to devise various different techniques or shortcuts wherever possible. All right. Okay. Now, next is if I'll see algebra. So 3 plus 1. So there were a total of 4 questions from algebra in the entire examination. So after arithmetic, I will keep algebra as the second priority. Okay. And then after algebra, I can see 1 question from geometry, 3 questions from number system, 2 questions from modern maths, 2 questions from data interpretation. So more or less, the other areas have a similar level of priority, if I'll basically rate them in order of their priority. So priority number 1 should be arithmetic, then you must focus on algebra, and then you can start with number systems, do some questions on data interpretation, set theory, number system, geometry, and so on and so forth. Understand that data interpretation, if I look at this area, 2 questions were from data interpretation, but solely, like, they were completely based on percentage calculations. So if you are good in percentages, then definitely you can take care of 2 questions which have come directly from percentages, profit and loss, and SICI, and 2 questions of data interpretation can also be taken care of. So percentages becomes one of the most important areas, one of the most important topics as far as our examination is concerned. Percentages will help us in doing the direct questions of percentages and its applications, and the application of percentages will be helpful also in case of data interpretation. All right. So in today's session, I'll spend some time and will teach you some of the wonderful techniques using which you can save time, specifically in the questions of percentages, profit loss, simple interest, compound interest, as well as data interpretation. All right. So I have not picked any question from previous year papers of CMAT, which I'll be doing in tomorrow's session. So in tomorrow's session, I'll be coming up in front of you with some of the previous year question papers of CMAT. Okay, some very important questions. But in today's session, let's focus on understanding some of the basics of percentages and some of the shortcuts in case of percentages. All right, so let's start with this. Now, first of all, if I talk about basic percentages and its applications in profit loss discount, I'll give you some very easy questions and let's see how many of you can answer these questions quickly. Okay, so I'm starting with very basic concept of profit loss discount, in which cost price is given to you as 240 and profit percentage is 20%. So can you all quickly tell me what will be the value of selling price? Make sure that you are not using calculators in today's class. Okay, so no usage of calculator is allowed. Fine. So you just have to do mental calculation. You can use some rough work to calculate all these things, and you will have to post your answer in the chat box as soon as possible. Come on, I'm waiting for all of you. Don't worry, the level of difficulty will certainly increase. I've just started with a very basic question. All right. So don't get demotivated by looking at such an easy question in front of you. So don't worry, I'll be increasing the level of difficulty and you will definitely learn something out of this session. Okay. Now, this is a very basic question. All of you must be knowing the basic concepts of percentages, profit and loss. All right. Now, profit is always calculated on cost price. This is what you'll have to understand. Okay, now profit is 20%, 20% of cost price. Now here the cost price is 240. Now if I'll pick this value, 100% of this value will be the number itself, that is 240 itself. Okay, so 100% of 240 will be 240 itself. 10% of this number will be 24. Okay, 1% of this number will be 2.4. 0.1% of this number will be 0.24 and so on. What actually am I doing? मैं क्या कर रहा हूं? 100% is the number itself. 10% अगर मुझे कैलकुलेट करना है, so 100 से 10 पे आने के लिए मैंने क्या किया है? 10 से डिवाइड किया है. So here also I have divided the number by 10. All right. Then further I have divided it by 10. So basically decimal is shifting towards left hand side. All right. Okay. Now I have to calculate 20% of this number. Now to calculate 20%, I already have 10% here. Now if 10% is 24, so 20% of this number will be double of 24, that is 48. So I can say that profit in terms of rupees will be equal to 48. All right. Now the cost price was 240. Profit is 48 rupees. So the selling price will be 240 plus 48, and that is 288. All right. So 288, yes, it is the correct answer. And this is given by almost all of you correctly. Okay. Now, Shri Vishnu, you are saying that, sir, is calculator allowed in this examination? Though calculator is not allowed in this examination, but even if the calculator is allowed, then understand one thing, there are most of the calculations which you can do faster by yourself as compared to calculator. Okay, calculator में आपको key type करना पड़ेगा 240 multiplied by 20%. Okay, so that will consume around 7 to 8 seconds. But you can find answer to such questions without using calculator and in a much faster way as compared to calculators. Okay, now we have calculated the answer of this question. The answer is 288. Yes, almost all of you is correct. But the key is we have to do this question without using this much amount of rough work. Okay, so all the calculations should be done here. Okay, and the answer should come out from you in a matter of 2 to 3 seconds. Okay, so let's have a look at one more question like this. Okay, so cost price, let's say it is 410. I'll start with again basic questions, easy questions. Loss percentage is given as 30 percentage. So what will be the selling price? Come on. Come on, I want a quick answer for this one. Now the calculations should go in this manner. So loss of 30%. So first of all, you'll have to calculate 30% of 410. All right. Now 10% of 410 is 41 and 30% will be 41 multiplied by 3. Just multiply 41 by 3. That is 123. So I can say that there will be a loss of 123 rupees. Now loss will be subtracted from cost price. Yes, it will be. Okay, so 410 minus 123 and the answer will come out to be yes, 287. So everything should be done orally in such questions. All right. Okay. Now let's increase the level of difficulty one step. Now cost price is 620 and there is a profit of 12%. Now what will be the selling price? Come on. Let's see who will be the first person to write this answer. Come on. All right. Now, here we have to calculate 12% of 620. Okay. Now, I'll start by calculating 10%. So, 10% will be 62. All right. Now, to find out 12%, first of all, I'll calculate 10%, which I've already done. And then I'll calculate 2%. Okay. Now, for 2%, I will require 1%. Now 1% of this number is 6.2 and 2% will be double of 6.2, that is 12.4. All right. So if I'll add both of them, I'll get 12%, that is 74.4. Now 74.4 is the profit which will be added to the cost price and you will get your answer. Okay, so just add these two values. 694.4 is your final answer. All right. Now here still I am using a little bit of rough work in order to explain each and everything to all of you. But if you will practice around 20-25 questions of such calculations, then definitely you'll be able to save a lot of time in the examination. Okay. Now, one basic advice to all of you. Now, some of the students for whom whatever techniques that I'm teaching in today's class, if you think that these are something new for you, okay, then learning these techniques today and directly implementing these techniques in the examinations will not be helpful for you. मिस्टेक जरूर करोगे. आज अगर कुछ सीखा है, डायरेक्टली एग्जामिनेशन में इंप्लीमेंट करोगे, डायरेक्टली एग्जाम में यूज करोगे, देन यू विल डेफिनेटली like do errors in your calculations. All right, so it is very important, after learning these techniques today, spend at least 2 to 3 hours like tonight only, revise these techniques and then practice some questions, let's say 5 to 10 questions probably after 2 or 3 days, and keep doing that regularly. Then only you'll be able to implement all these techniques without committing any error in the examination. All right. Okay. Now let's move further and let's raise the level of difficulty to one another step. So cost price is 286 and you have a profit of 9.09%. What will be the selling price? Let's see how many of you can answer this question very quickly. Now, Ria and Dipali, no need to delete your comments. Okay. In case you have posted a wrong answer, it is absolutely fine. We are humans and we tend to commit mistake. Okay, so it's absolutely fine in case you have given a wrong answer, but I am thankful to both of you that you are at least solving these questions. Wonderful. You will definitely gain a lot of things out of this session. All right, Dipali, good. The first answer has come from Dipali. Karthik, nice. Samriddhi, Tejasvi. Now, Tejasvi, we have a profit here, so I believe selling price should be more than the cost price. And I again tell some of my friends, try not to use calculators in this class. Okay, so try to find out answer for each and every question without using calculator. Okay, all right. Now let's understand the reason of giving such an absurd value. Now this is not an absurd value. Okay, now if you have studied one thing which is known as percentage equivalence of fractions, then you will understand that the fractional equivalent of 9.09 percentage is 1 by 11. Okay, so basically such type of things, yes, Dipali, exactly, you are precisely correct. Good. So the reason of giving 9.09 is understanding whether you know all these things or not, whether you have basically done the percentage chapter properly or not. Okay, so this question is not of calculations, this question is of understanding whether you know 9.09% is nothing but 1 by 11 of something. Okay, so here profit will be 1 by 11, so I'll replace 9.09 percentage by 1 by 11 and multiplied by 286. So now you'll have to just calculate 1 by 11 of 286. Okay, and you should not be surprised to see that 286 is completely divisible by 11, right? So 286 divided by 11, it will be 26. So here the profit value is of 26 and the selling price will be, sorry, 286 plus 26, and that is 312. All right, so the correct answer for this question will be 312, and this was nothing but the application of percentage equivalence of fractions. So the next thing after the previous calculations, the next thing that you must focus on is the percentage equivalence of fractions. I'll write some of these values for you, starting with the basic values. 1 upon 2 is 50%, 1 upon 4 is 25%, 1 upon 8 is 12.5%. So basically, whenever you see 12.5% in any of the calculations, you can replace it by 1 by 8, which will be easier to calculate. All right. Similarly, 1 by 16 is 6.25 percentage. All right, some of the fractional equivalents which are frequently used. Okay, 1 upon 3, it can be written as 33.33 percentage. 1 upon 6, it can be written as 16.67 percentage. 1 upon 12, 8.33 percentage. Okay, similarly, 1 upon 9 is 11.11 percentage. All right, 1 upon 11 is 9.09 percentage, which you have seen like a few minutes back. Okay, so these are some percentage equivalents of fractions which are frequently used in our examinations. Okay, so you must be knowing all these percentage equivalents of fraction. Now, in case you want to do a little bit further, then I would recommend you to learn percentage equivalents of fractions starting from 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4 up till 1 by 20. ठीक है, so 1 by 20 तक के percentage equivalence of fractions ये सारे tips पे होने चाहिए, and this will definitely save a lot of time for all of you. All right, okay, now let's move further and let's raise the level of difficulty to one more step. Okay, now earlier whatever questions we have done, cost price was given, profit or loss percentage was given, and we were asked to calculate selling price. Now let's look at the reverse process and let's see how many of you can tackle this carefully. Okay, so starting with very easy question. So selling price is 240. The profit percentage is 20%. Get me the value of the cost price. Mihir, it totally depends on what score you are targeting. So in case you are targeting a very high score, then you cannot afford to leave any topic. Okay, you are weak in algebra. I understand that most of us are weak in algebra. Algebra topic ही ऐसा है. But ये भी understand करो, ठीक है? Arithmetic and data interpretation, geometry, number system, ये सारे topics prepare कर लो. But in case you are targeting a good score, देन जो आपके वीक एरियाज हैं लाइक एल्जेब्रा, इनमें से भी कुछ सिलेक्टेड टॉपिक्स को प्रिपेयर कर लो. यू नेवर नो हाउ मेनी क्वेश्चंस मे कम फ्रॉम एल्जेब्रा. ओके, ऑलराइट. सो कुश, श्री, दीपेश, तेजस्वी, वंडरफुल. ऑल फोर ऑफ यू हैव गिवन आंसर्स. Okay, now Deepesh, when I told you earlier that Sony as well. So at the beginning, when I just started this concept, I mentioned one thing, that profit and loss both are calculated on cost price, not on selling price. Okay, so what mistake you have done is you have calculated profit as a percentage of selling price, which should not be done. Okay, now one method that we generally use here is we'll assume cost price as X. Okay, and we'll write selling price as cost price plus profit. Okay, so selling price is cost price, which is X, plus profit, which is 20% of the cost price. Okay, now we can convert this in fraction or in decimals. So I can write it as X plus 20 upon 100 into X. Okay, and further it can be written as 120 upon 100 into X. Some of you may also write it as 6 upon 5X. All right, so whichever way you want to write it. And now equate it to the value of selling price that is given to you, which is 240. And the value of X will come out to be 200. So yes, 200 is the correct answer. But are we allowed to use these many steps? Yes, we are allowed. But are we going to spend so much of time in such a basic question? No, we should not. Okay, so let's see how this particular thing can be tackled when you have something like this as a profit or loss percentage. Okay, now this is basically the concept of multiplication factors. Now, whatever I'm going to teach you in the next few minutes will be very relevant, will be very important in order to save good amount of time in such calculations. So guys, 192 will not be the answer. 200 will be the final answer for the previous question. Okay, now let's see how you can manage this particular answer, manage this particular thing in a single step. Okay, now we'll be taking around 5 to 6 minutes to understand this particular thing. Okay, now let's say you have a question of normal increase. X को increase करना है 10% से. You want to increase X by 10%. So we write it as X plus 10% of X. Taking X common, we write it as 1 plus 10 upon 100. I'll write one more step here. X plus 10 upon 100 into X. Now you can take X common from here and write it as X bracket 1 plus 10 upon 100. Okay. Now if I'll convert it in decimals, now 10 upon 100, this portion, 10 upon 100 can be written as 0.1. And when I'll add it to 1, it will become 1.1. So the final value is 1.1x. So I can say that when x is increased by 10%, the final value will become 1.1 times the original value. All right. Now similarly, if x is increased by 20%, the final value should be written as 1.2 x. If x is increased by, let's say, 23%, then the final value will look like 1.23 times the original value, which is x. Okay, so basically, uh, there is a factor of 1.1 or 1.2 or 1.3 which has been multiplied to the original value to get the final value. All right. So this is the procedure that we use when we are going from initial value to the final value and there is a percentage increase. All right. Now, in case there is a percentage decrease, that means x decreased by 10%. So instead of adding here, there will be a subtraction sign and this will become 0.9x. Okay, so 1 minus 0.1, that is 0.9x. Similarly, x when reduced by 20%, you will get 0.8x. X when reduced by 23%, you will get 0.77x. All right. Now, basically, I'm writing all these values very quickly because I want to cover as much more as possible. So what you can do is, after this session is over, you can just look at this session once again. जहां पे भी आपको लगता है रुकना है, पॉज करना है, पॉज कीजिए and try to practice some more questions of this type. All right. So x को increase किया and x को decrease किया, these are certain multiplication factors that can be introduced. Okay, now let us relate this particular thing with cost price and the selling price. Okay, so cost price is nothing but the initial value. Let's say it is given as 220. There is a profit of 10%. So we have already seen one methods. Now I can also write selling price as, so selling price will be cost price when increased by profit percentage. Okay, so I can write it as 1.1 multiplied by 220. 220 को 10% से increase किया, so 1.1 multiplied by 220 and you will get the same final answer. I'm just giving you an alternate way of solving this. Similarly, if cost price is 220 and there is a loss of 10%, so you can write selling price as 0.9 multiplied by 220. This is same as decreasing the cost price by loss percentage. All right, fine. So we have already seen these things, but let's now move on to the most important thing that we were talking about. जब हमें selling price से cost price पे आना है, like in this question. Okay, now here you have seen that whenever we are going from initial to final value, we have multiplied something to the initial value to get the final value. Okay, so 10% का increase है, तो the factor was 1.1. So initial से final value पे जाना है, तो ये factor multiply कर दिया. Okay, now in the similar manner, अगर मुझे final value से initial value पे जाना है, तो मैं same factor divide कर दूंगा. For example, initial value, let's say not given. So some initial value after an increase of 10% becomes final value, let's say x. So here final value is x and we'll have to calculate the initial value. All right. Okay. Now just look at what has been done. Here a 10% increase has been done. Now जब भी increase होता है तो factor क्या होगा? 1 से बड़ा होगा. Okay, no kush, today's class is not of percentages. I'm just telling you one of the ways in which you can increase your score. Okay, so 10% का increase है तो factor क्या आ जाएगा? 1.1. Okay, now initial से final value पे जाते हैं तो 1.1 से multiply करते हैं, but final से initial पे आना है तो 1.1 से divide कर दो. So initial value will be x divided by 1.1. In the similar manner here in this question, the final value is 240 and the profit is 20%. Now 20% increase, the factor is 1.2. So the initial value will be final value divided by 1.2 and that is 200. So this is how you can perform this particular question in a single step. All right, fine. So when you are going from initial to final, the factor will be multiplied. Whenever you are coming from final value to the initial value, the same factor will be divided. Okay, so this is how you can tackle these questions in a single step. Okay, fine. So up till now, we have seen a few things. We have seen the relevance of percentages, faster calculations, how we can like use these percentage equivalents of fractions in order to basically increase the speed of our calculation, and just understanding few basic steps of transition from initial to final and final to initial. These particular steps can be used in order to save considerable amount of time. All right, now let's have a look at one more concept, which is successive percentage change. Okay, now if I'll say that any value x is increased by 10% and then further it is increased by 20%. All right, so what will be the net percentage change here? Now this particular concept is used at a lot of places. So if you understand this one as well, you'll be able to save good amount of time. Now here, this is basically nothing but successive percentage change. What do you mean by successive percentage change? एक के बाद एक change हो रहा है. Okay, so first of all, x is increased by 10% and then the number obtained is further increased by 20%, and we'll have to find out what is the net percentage change here. You must have seen different methods. I'll give you a direct formula for this. Some of you might have seen this formula as well. So this is basically the formula of successive percentage change. Okay, so here the net percentage change is given by the formula a plus b plus ab upon 100. Okay, now what are a and b? A and b are these percentage changes with their proper signs. All right, now if it is an increase, the sign of a will be positive. If it's a decrease, then it will be a negative value. All right, so here a is plus 10, this is a and this is b. Just substitute these two values and you will get the final net percentage change. So a is 10, b is 20. Now 10 into 20 is 200 upon 100, and upon solving you will get the answer as 32%. So yes, there is a net percentage change of 32% if you have two changes of 10% and 20% successively. Okay, now in case you have a decrease here, so x, let's say, decreased by 20% and then increased by 30%. Okay, so the value of a in the formula will be minus 20 and the value of b will be plus 30. Okay, now carefully put these values in the formula. So formula is a plus b plus ab upon 100. So it will be minus 20 plus 30. Careful, minus 20 into plus 30 is minus 600. Minus 600 upon 100 is minus 6. So here the net percentage change will be 4%. All right, now 4% has a positive sign, so it will be a net increase of 4%. Am I clear to each and every one of you? Okay, so this is another way using which you can be faster and save time in QA section and hence increase your score. All right, okay, now I'll give you another implementation of this particular formula in case of simple and compound interest. Okay, now you must be knowing that compound interest is basically a wonderful example of successive percentage change. So let's say question says that there is a principal of 2000 rupees. Rate of interest is 10% per annum and it is compounded annually. Okay, so what will be the amount? What will be the amount after 2 years? All right, now you can use different formulas. You must be knowing the direct formula for compound interest, but do not complicate things by just cramming a lot of formulas. Now what I'll say is, if you know that the compound interest is basically an then what you can do is you can just calculate net percentage change. Now rate of interest is 10% per annum. So first year के लिए 10% interest है, second year के लिए 10% interest है. So if you'll apply it for 2 years, 10 plus 10 plus 10 into 10 upon 100. So net percentage change will be 21 percentage. What I have done is I have applied the formula of successive percentage change. So in the first year, the value will increase by 10%. Then in the second year, the increased value will increase by 10%. Okay, so this is nothing but successive percentage change. So the net interest rate is 21%. So just calculate 21 percentage of 2000. All right, 21 percentage of 2000, you can calculate it. So what will be this value? This will be 420. So this is the interest that you have earned. So amount at the end of 2 years will be principal plus the interest, and answer will be 2420. That's simple. So this particular logic can also be used in different questions of simple interest, compound interest. Yesterday only, like in the last 2 days, I have got a message from lots of students after, like those who have attended my yesterday's session and those who have been attending my sessions on CMAT. They have told me that they are very weak in simple interest, compound interest. So there were 5-6 students who have sent me this message. Now guys, if you are cramming up the formulas of simple interest, compound interest without going into the depth and understanding the logics of simple interest, compound interest, then it will be very difficult for you to crack the questions of SICI. Okay, now what we do is we directly cram the formulas, but what we should do is we should be understanding the basics of simple and compound interest, which is nothing but percentage change or successive percentage change. So if you understand these concepts, then the topic of SI and CI will become very easy for all of you. All right. Okay. So at the end, what I'll say is the topics that we have seen for quant, all these topics. So what you can do is you can start devoting 1 or 2 days each on these topics that I'm marking right now, and make sure that you finish these things in a matter of 10 to 12 days. Okay. Before we'll move on to other topics. Okay. So just spend 1 day on percentages, profit loss, SICI. Spend 1 day on ratios, mixtures, and allegations. 1 day on time and work. 1 day on time, speed, distance, and you'll be able to finish all these topics in a matter of 15 days, and that will definitely increase your score in quant section. So it's not me, it's you who will have to help yourself in order to achieve success. So all the very best, my dear friends. Please do like this session in case you think that you have gained something out of this session. Yes, Krishna, almost every day we'll be having classes, but in case you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep, please do it right now so that you will keep on getting notifications. Do press the like button and do press the bell icon in order to get notifications of all the new videos that will be coming up with. Okay. Yes, Kush, definitely not today, but in future, like tomorrow, I'll be coming up with some of the very important questions uh, from CMAT previous year question papers, and I'll be discussing the basics around these questions as well. Okay, so stay tuned to our YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep, and we'll be definitely coming up with many more sessions like that. Also, if you are looking for some of the wonderful GDPI program for your preparation for the next stage of selection procedure, so here we have started a wonderful program for all of you. The highlights are given on the screen. Okay, and to fetch further details about this program, you can call at the number which is given at the bottom of your screen. Also, in case anyone of you is looking to prepare for CAT 2022, then one of the batches that we have started, you can enroll in this batch, and all the details are mentioned on the screen. And further to know more details, you can call at the number which is there at the bottom of your screen. All right. So friends, today it was a very brief session in which we basically discussed that we need to start preparing ourselves for all these things and get into the very basics of different topics in order to score well in the examination. Now wait for me, and I'll definitely be in front of you once again with many more sessions where I'll not be just giving you strategy, but I'll be also teaching you, and I'll be basically coming up with some of the very important questions that have already appeared in previous year of CMAT examination. So we'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock with one of the sessions where I'll be discussing some previous year questions of CMAT examination. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.